So fun fact about Torri, as much as a carnivore that she is, she loves a Beyond Meat burger now.
I do.
Slightly converted.
Slightly. I like them. It's shocking.
I like them. Sound a little more convincing.
They're pretty good. They're good. I can get on board.
You like, I'm wearing like a Beyond burger.
This episode is brought to you by...
Yeah, I like them.
On that note, roll the intro. Well, welcome back to Poddy Talk, the podcast where we shit talk ourselves. I'm Jack.
And I'm Torri, and this is Matt climbing out of...
If you're watching the video, we're shooting another video of us shooting the video, which is just too much happening. So if you see someone creeping around...
That's why.
Yeah, be alarmed maybe. Anyways, we just got back. Whoa, do we leave our door open?
We're just so off today.
We left the door wide open.
Yeah.
So we just got back last night from Lake Louise. We were out in Calgary for a couple of days with Chatters. We had like the best, most epic hair getaway winter wonderland. How are you doing with the jet lag?
I was tired this morning.
I'm dead.
No, yeah, 2 hours, you don't think it would be a lot, but we talked about it even coming back from LA. I think 2 and 3 hours, it's a weird thing because you're going to bed slightly later, but then you still have to wake up at a normal time. It's a lot to ask of the body.
Like the food scheduling. Like you're eating dinner, then when you get home, but it's really like 2 a.m. So then you're like, what do I want to eat before bed? Like it gets confusing.
I didn't eat last night.
See, I did have a little bit of a snack, but we had some Subway and that. Okay, so listen
That's why
to
I couldn't eat. I'm like, you told me I ate a yoga mat for lunch. So then I was like, I'm not going to eat dinner now because that's really not the move at all.
No, so basically we were on the car ride back from Lake Louise to the Calgary airport, which was about what, two and a bit hours. And we were just getting so ravenously hungry. We had done like a workout class that morning, and we're just like, wow, we cannot wait to get some food when we get to the airport. So the first thing you said, actually, you were saying the Beyond Meat burger to bring it back. And I was like, yeah, I could do a Beyond Meat burger, or you know what I could do? Subway. Sometimes
I also just really assumed they wouldn't have a Beyond Meat burger at the airport. That is shocking.
Yeah, that already is like crazy. And the fact that I go, oh, I want it Subway, then you're like, oh, I could do a Subway too.
Yeah, Subway.
So we had our mindset on either a Beyond Meat burger or Subway. We get to the airport, I'm not kidding, as soon as we get through security, what do we see? A&W Beyond Meat burgers and a Subway right next door to each other. So we're like, well, we gotta do it. That's a sign from the universe. So I went to Subway. Actually, they also carry Beyond Meat. This literally does sound like a giant ad for them.
Yeah, I know.
And I tried
Guys, I love real meat. I'm gonna put it out there.
And I love Beyond Meat, so if you want to sponsor us, definitely do reach out. So we had a Beyond Meat sub, and it hit the spot, some sub sauce, just like a classic. I think the only vegan bread there is the white bread, so that's what I got. But apparently, don't you remember the rumor? So it's like, as a kid, I always would hear other kids telling people, you shouldn't eat Subway. It's one ingredient off from being like a yoga mat or like a plastic bag.
That. But
really?
I believe it. It is slightly too perfect. You know,
I
it's
think
so
the concept
cushiony.
being like there's chemicals in it or whatever. But it's like everything is chemicals.
Right.
I mean, I'm not saying it's probably not the healthiest for me, but
right. Okay.
I will indulge in a Subway once in a blue moon. You know.
There you go. Well, anyways, yeah. So we were in Lake Louise, and we got to go skating on the lake, and we got to go on a really kind of epic horse carousel ride.
I'm terrified of horses. I'm gonna put that out there.
I loved the energy. It was great. And the rooms were really nice. Somehow I was awarded a suite, which was
you got the
fabulous.
blessed room, which was nice.
It was really cool. It was a great trip. I loved it. I like it there so much. It's so romantic and cool, even though it's fully haunted, which that's like a separate story.
Wait, so I feel like your end of the table, because we weren't sitting beside each other at that final dinner, you guys were getting the scoop on the hauntedness of the Fairmont. What's the story?
Well, it wasn't really a story. I actually think they're not allowed to talk about it. Like, in less words, she was basically saying, like, stop asking me about this, in the way that, like, I think they're told from their managers, like, it's known that the Fairmont hotels are literally haunted. No, it's just horrible for marketing. Like, it's.
Oh, I feel like that would like draw in some people. The ghost hunters.
Absolutely not. I don't think so. I think people don't like that energy.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So they were like told not to talk about it.
Oh, because that was funny. Because I asked Dave, our server on our end, and
what did he say?
He's like, oh, I just don't really know anything about it.
That's what I mean. They're told to say they know nothing about it.
Oh,
yeah.
You think?
Yeah. She was literally saying that. She's like, we're not really supposed to talk about it. And then whatever. So
I think it's bad for the ghost. It probably makes the ghost angry.
I don't know. Essentially, like a bride like burned up and.
Wait, really? That's
on the stairs that we walked up, the bride caught on fire, and there were so many fires in that specific hotel that's why there's no like there's no chimneys or anything anymore. Like there's no actual like built-in fireplaces.
Wait,
they
are
took
you
all of them out
serious?
during the renovations because the hotel had caught on fire so many times.
Wait, so you're telling me that a bride had passed away and from like her dress caught on fire and she died?
Apparently. That's the story of the haunted bride there.
Oh,
Yeah.
Well, what was so weird is that all of us were saying, this was even before the conversation, before I knew that the hotel was supposedly haunted. We were all having weird nightmares and dreams, and the next morning I woke up, I go, oh my God, you're not gonna believe the dream. And then you're like, yo, I had a crazy dream too.
Yeah, I don't
then
know.
the other girls were saying we're all having nightmares. Like, is it
Yeah.
there's something in the food or the ghosts are
food.
visiting us at night?
Yeah, I don't know.
Have you ever had like an actual ghost experience or a spirit encounter?
Not fully, no. Not that I'm like, not that I'm aware of.
I'm the same way. I feel like, I mean, obviously I've never experienced anything, so it's like, I don't necessarily believe, I don't necessarily not believe, but I'm very open to it if it was to happen. Like, I'm like, you know what, if the spirits want to come and make a sign, like, give it to me.
Yeah.
But I've never had anything like happen, but I'm always so curious when other people share their stories. Like, I love learning about it.
I feel like mostly though it's like through people's dreams and like other like coincidences that like all fall into place that make people believe in it. Like when that girl was like, yeah, my things fell off my table, it's like, okay, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, okay, but you're in a circumstance where now you think a ghost is there and you're creating this idea in your head. So if, something happens to fall over, then you think a ghost did it, where really like that chair could just by accident fall over at any point.
I would agree. I mean, I think whether the way that I was brought up or the way that I believe with all of those types of things, like I feel like I'm much more like scientific or practical or what's maybe the most realistic thing to happen.
Yeah.
So I'm definitely by default, I think someone like, oh, probably there was a weird gust of wind and that's why that rolled over.
Right.
But I agree, when you have it in your mind, maybe you're looking for that more or searching for it. But then also it's like, who's to know? Like, I mean, again, I've never had an experience. So maybe if I was someone that was really searching for a sign or to reach out to a past loved one or something, like maybe then it would.
You could have like an epic experience.
Like, I don't know. Like,
Yeah.
I guess you never know until you know, so.
There's some real Ghostbusters out there.
Those shows sometimes.
That's what I mean. It's
The
like,
shows are sometimes like a little.
yeah,
you know?
I'm curious, like, about the whole marketing of the Fairmont and why they're so secretive about it. Cause
I really think that would like help it if they did ghost tours. Are you kidding
I've
me?
also heard a specific one about Lake Louise, which I don't also know if is true, was something about like brides there is really weird. Like there was like someone that got proposed to on the lake but then fell off the canoe and like died or something, like after being proposed to. I don't know. There's some like sketchy
That's
energy.
so scary.
Yeah.
Wait, I want to Google it. Like now I need to know.
Do you think it'll be on Google?
Yeah, like Lake Louise haunted. That's what
They're
I'm
like
typing in.
folk tales. Like I feel like.
Is Chateau Lake Louise haunted? Lake Louise Forum on TripAdvisor.
I mean, okay.
They're gonna know what's up.
Do we trust that?
Hi, I'm
fact?
planning to take my parents to Chateau Lake Louise right after Labor Day weekend.
She's
However,
questioning if
recently
it's
a
haunted.
family friend told us the hotel is haunted. So my parents are now a little concerned. I always thought Banff Spring Hotel and whatever hotel are rumored to be haunted as well. Do you know about this? Blah, blah, blah.
Yes, they're all haunted.
All the comments are saying yes. I've always assumed the hotel was haunted. That's why they charge so much for the rooms, because it's not only for the residents, but it's also for the
ghosts.
ghosts. Wait.
That's funny.
This is literally a forum from 12 years ago.
But this
yes,
is what
the
I'm
hotel is
saying.
haunted. I've had a lot of strange things happen while I'm staying there.
Yeah, it's gone on for a long time.
The second floor apparently is haunted. There's places in the hotel that staff don't feel comfortable in, won't stay in.
We never went to the second floor.
If I check out, I will check out the image described above to see if I can see the clearly depicted face on the back of onlookers' heads, but I'm sure, wait, what?
That's creepy.
Yeah, this is a really weird forum that I'm on. Okay.
I told you.
I mean, but then it's like, oh my God, yeah, the ghost of the Fairmont Banff Springs.
See, that's the other hotel.
Oh, is that not the one we were staying at?
No.
This 129-year-old hotel has more than a few residents who've checked in but have never checked out.
Yeah, that's so
It's
weird.
kind of tragic though, like, oh yeah, the bride. Oh no, this was at the Banff Springs.
What did they say?
On the couple's wedding day, the bride, decked out in her wedding gown, descended down one of the hotel's marble staircases. Something startled her, causing her to slip and fall. Some say that she caught her heel on the hem of her dress. Others say that her dress brushed up against a candle's flame. Whatever the cause, the end of the result is that the bride died on those steps. Since then, hotel staff and guests alike have reported seeing a veiled figure moving up and down the stairs, or seeing a figure in a wedding dress dancing in the ballroom upstairs, pinning it for the first dance that her and her husband never had. Wait, this is kind of like sad. Like, as fun as ghost stories can be sometimes, it's like, if that was actually a real story, like, that's really tragic. Like, I don't.
No, it's terrible.
Ugh.
Also, that was not for the hotel we were at. She was saying that was at our hotel.
That was the Fairmont Banff Springs, which is not the same one we were at,
It's
right?
not.
There's so many haunted rooms. That's what I'm saying. I feel like all these stories sometimes get muddled. It's like a game of telephone. So like, who knows what stories from what place?
That's what I mean. Like, they're totally like old folks' tales, and like it's just word of mouth stories.
There are so many like threads about it, though. Oh my god.
Interesting.
So it definitely is a thing. A haunted stay at the Fairmont. So apparently the Fairmont Banff Springs is actually what's more haunted. So we were lucky. Maybe that's why we didn't
We were lucky.
experience anything crazy.
Yeah, I never stayed there. So
Definitely is like freaky. My mom used to scare me so much as kids. We would have like little campfires, and she was so good at telling good ghost stories and stuff. And there was this one story which I just recently found out was fake, but I thought it was a real story. And it was this like crazy experience of like our family friends that moved into this new house. And I randomly brought it up. My mom was like, "Oh, like what are you talking about?" It's like, you know that story you told us as kids. She's like, "Bro,
That
I
was a
totally
lie?
made that up on the spot. Like that was just a ghost story I was having fun with." She's so good at stuff like that.
that's
Yeah.
like kind of crazy though, to like tell your kids these.
I mean, all
Scary.
like fun. We would like do it like if all the
Was
cousins
it
were-
scary?
Kind of like haunted. Like it would be like haunted ghost stories. Like you'd be around a campfire, all the cousins were there. We'd all be like, ah, like it's like in fun, you know. I mean, she wouldn't like traumatize me every night before bed. Jaclyn, remember the monster under your bed is gonna.
Oh no, I didn't. I don't like that.
Oh really? You never had like ghost stories?
No,
growing
my
up?
parents never did that. They were very like opposite. They would be like, like if it was
Rainbows
anything, it
and
was
butterflies.
No, it was the opposite. It was much more
What do
like
you mean?
educational. It was like, this girl was abducted this week. Like, do these steps if you ever end up
Hey,
in this
no,
scenario.
that's a different conversation. Of course, I was like,
It's more like that. It wasn't like raw ghost story.
oh, that's funny. Were you a scary movie person growing up?
No, I hate scary movies. Even to
Wait,
this day, I
what?
hate scary movies.
I feel like that is like the coming of age, middle school like thing to do. Go see scary movies. It's like, ooh, like it's just so fun.
No, I
That's
never
definitely
did
the
that.
main demo of like scary movies.
Really?
Oh, for sure. The main audience of if you go to any theater of scary movies, it's like majority like kids.
No, I never watched any of them. Scream, none of those. No, I hate that. It's such untasteful content. I just hate it. Why watch something that's gonna make you feel like shit?
That's literally what all content and entertainment is. It's supposed to make you feel something, whether it's scared, happiness, joy. I mean, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
Horror is not my favorite
I'd
genre,
rather
but
choose comedy and romance over
yeah. No, that's what I mean.
horror.
It had a time and place. I don't think I've seen like a proper scary movie like in theaters in a hot minute. But like when you're like in
There was
grade
one that
9,
ruined my life. That was The Lovely Bones. And I went to the theater to see it. I must have been in high school. And I left the theater 4 times because I couldn't even handle it. To the point that at one point I stood up to leave the theater again because I couldn't do it. And I got up too fast and my
so
phone
unlike
was in
you.
my lap and it fell, the dramatic fall between the seats. And it fell between the seats and I was like, fuck! Because I'm like in the theater and I'm just trying to get out of there.
Like you left? Why didn't you just close your
Yes,
eyes?
because she was like being abducted and like was literally hidden under the like in this park, like under these like rocks, and like was living this like life and was trying to escape and couldn't escape, and it was about like her dad who was looking for her. It was like the most
But don't you just go,
disturbing
oh,
movie.
it's fake, so who cares?
I didn't have clearly the foresight at that time in my life to understand that.
So you know what
But
I-
even in this scenario, like in my older age, I would never choose to put on a tear. And I work in film, like I understand it's all fake, but like it gives me no joy, so why?
Oh, you see, you know what I've recently gotten into more, which I was never really this way. Like I like a good like docuseries or documentary, and like kind of the more messed up the situation is, like I just find it so fascinating. But those are things that actually like truly will scare me then. Like if I'm watching alone at night, I'm watching this like horrible, like whether it's like the Ted Bundy series or something like that.
Yeah, I
and
don't
then
like that.
And then I turn off the screen at the end of the night, I'm like, now I must just fall asleep, and
Yeah.
I live alone, and I'm
Alone with
a
your
young girl,
thoughts.
and like that's when maybe I'm like, maybe I shouldn't be watching this type of content, but it is just so fascinating.
Yeah, it's not feel-good content, so I try not to. Like, why?
It's not feel good content.
It's just not.
It's just like, yeah, it's curiosity, I guess, like fascinating, like
Yeah.
horrible but fascinating.
I guess.
Now I'm scared. All these ghost stories, all these.
Yeah, I mean, it's good to be aware of. Like, it is still to some effect, like, educational. Like the Ted Bundy stuff, like just understanding like people's personalities and like characteristics and like being able to like see if someone, like it's like those spidey senses,
Yeah.
you're
Well,
like, oh, this person's maybe gonna murder me.
Well, it's also so fascinating too because like especially a situation like that, like obviously I don't remember all of the details and facts off the top of my head, but at the timeline that it had happened, since the technology wasn't there to keep up with the pace that case was developing at, it totally made so many loopholes.
Yeah.
And he was able to get away
It
with
made no sense, actually, the entire thing. Like,
Well, it actually made the most sense.
Well, it made
Yeah.
no sense, like, but it made no sense, like, it made no practical sense that he fully was just getting away with so much.
Well, that's the thing. That's what I'm saying. In 2020, it almost gives me more peace that I'm like, okay, people are so held accountable from whether everyone having cell phones, whether it be like sheriffs in these different departments having information online to cross-reference. Like, it makes it almost so much harder to get away with things in a good way. And it's actually so fascinating. I was actually talking to someone about this recently, talking about like crime and how, especially with having so much access and news at our fingertips, that it's so easy to get so overwhelmed with when you hear, oh, this tragic incident happened in this country. Oh, this one person, whatever, had an incident here, and hear all these crazy tragedies or crimes or things like that. And it's easy to feel like it's happening so much and all over the world.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure I read a statistic that, I don't know if it was North America or in Canada or what it was, but crime rates are actually on the decline because, and what I don't know, is it because of accountability, because everyone like can't get away with it now?
Yeah.
So it's actually really interesting. It's just that we're exposed to it more, so we think that it's happening or it's a lot worse than it ever was. But actually, if you look at the numbers, crime is on the decline, or maybe it's like violent crime or whatever it is.
Right. Interesting. I mean,
someone fact check me if I'm wrong. I think that's right though.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't speak to it. I honestly don't know. But to the flip side of that, I thought it was interesting when I was watching Taylor Swift's documentary, because she was talking about how when she was sexually assaulted, she had a photo of it happening and people still didn't believe her. And I think that's a really interesting flip on its head, because it's like, okay, you know, we have cell phones, we can record these situations, we know if someone's in the wrong, like we have proof, like that's literally what you have. Then you have a case and you have proof and you can go to court and you can fight it. And I just thought that was such an interesting perspective, because I think we believe that having, let's say, a video of something or whatever it might be, some level of proof, whether that's in writing or a video, might help us. But I thought that was so interesting. She's like, I literally had the moment that he put his hand up my skirt, I had a literal photographer taking a photo when it was happening, and people still didn't believe me.
Yeah.
And it's still my fault, and it's still all of these things. And I think that's just a really interesting like concept. It's like it's helping us, but then to what extent? Clearly not enough.
Well, I think it's better than nothing, obviously, to have
Of course,
more
yeah.
like video and photo evidence and proof like that. But I think ultimately, like, the systems aren't 100% perfect. Like, there will be many loopholes or failures and times where it's not, you know, you feel like it's justice.
Did you ever see Now They See Us?
No, what is that? Why does that sound so familiar?
It's all about like these young boys who were convicted of a crime, and it's like proving whether it was like true or not. And it just shows like how the judicial system is like so messed up, and like really speaks to like the truth of, you know, what was happening at that time. Specifically for people of minority, and it's a really, really awesome, like highly recommend anyone looking for like a good Netflix show. The acting is incredible, but it's also based on a true story, so it is a bit hard to watch.
Is it a series or a movie?
It's about 4 episodes, but they're long. Like it's kind of like short. It's like a short film in a way.
When did it come out? Like, were we talking like years ago?
No, recently within 2019, 2020.
Oh, really?
2019, last year, yeah.
Oh, it sounds so familiar, but like from a while ago.
But I mean, it's like hard to watch in that way because it is based on real life, and I think that's when you start to get a little bit upset because you're like, I can't believe this is happening.
Exactly, especially people that like have to deal with systematic oppression and
yeah.
I don't know. It's crazy. It really is.
Yeah.
Well, now I'm
on the down.
Yeah, between horror stories and things that are messed up with the world and the way people are convicted, and then again, the news is just rolling behind us. It's like, well, this is the thing too. It's like almost like, have you heard of like the concept of like decision fatigue, when you have too many choices and you're just like overwhelmed? And it's like the same thing. There's like a term that's used in reference to like the news cycle fatigue, and it's like it's almost
we have no empathy because we see too much of it.
Well, yeah, that, but also just like you can feel so helpless, or like the world is falling apart because we see all of these horrible stories that are constantly being pumped out.
Yeah.
And then people either completely go on the reverse and go, okay, well, I don't want to read anything, I'm never looking at the news once again. Or it's like, I want to learn everything, and then you get so overwhelmed and like anxious or depressed or whatever from hearing all of these horrible things. So
that's awful.
It's like a fine line of navigating, like, how do you stay educated? How do you keep up with the news? How do you find reliable news sources? How do you know what you believe in, but without having a bias of your reporter? Like, I don't know. It's all, I don't know. But I think, again, the beauty of the internet is we have so much access to perspectives. So I even feel like someone who may have went in with a certain perspective, I can read a million different opinions and then go like, oh, you know what? Maybe that's true, and I can form my own opinion versus just bandwagoning onto like
I think
the majority.
I think a lot of people too like aren't necessarily like selfish enough with you know how they expose themselves to the news. Like,
what do you mean?
I feel like people think it's their responsibility, and yes, to some extent, I do agree to like make sure you're educating yourself and you know what's going on in the world. But I think if it does come down to like your mental health and seeing that kind of stuff every day is not good for you,
totally.
Then it's like creating those boundaries. Like I think a lot of people probably watch and listen to the news and really it brings them anxiety or it brings them like not a sense of like fulfillment or happiness.
Totally.
So it's like, I don't think there's anything wrong with not tuning into the news every single day. Of course, if there's, you know, some sort of outbreak like the coronavirus, you're educate yourself and figure it out. But it's like, I don't think there's anything wrong with like taking those boundaries and being like, I don't need to get alerts on my phone from CP24 every day, figuring out what's new and terrible in the world. Like
totally, I completely agree. I mean, I don't have like alerts on for anything. It's interesting. I talk to my mom about this often because she's someone that has now gone maybe more to the side of like, I don't want to hear all these crazy things.
Yeah.
But and she always says this point, which is so true. She goes like, word of mouth, like the stories that I need to know, I will find out through just like daily life, talking to other people.
100%.
Like you will find out the crazy news if you need to find out the crazy news.
Coronavirus, I didn't find out from sitting and watching down and listening to the news. I just found out because my boyfriend had mentioned to me in passing, oh my gosh, have you heard about this crazy coronavirus?
Exactly.
It's like the things that are gonna be hitting the mainstream news, like it'll get to me.
Exactly. And it's so fascinating too, and again goes back to my love for the good old internet. Even things as like, I sometimes hate saying like Twitter because people are always like, you get your news from Twitter. I find Twitter is such a great resource because you can hear things in real time, and depending obviously who you're following, like of course you're gonna get
a certain type of
you
content.
might get crappy things, but you might get, it can be great too. And the algorithm on there right now, my news feed and my trend, like it's not even trending page, it's my like moments tab is so curated that the top news stories that it knows I'm gonna wanna know will give it to me. So it gives me lots of pop culture, which is great because I love being up to date on that stuff. It gives me like world news, Canadian news, like, and it's curated to like the top headlines that I would want to know.
Yeah.
So things like that, I'm like, amazing. But then again, if you want to play devil's advocate, on the flip side, then you talk to things about like the political elections back in the day. Yes, you have Facebook, the Facebook ads, algorithms, whatever, serving people
everything
like propaganda,
they want to
basically.
see. Everything they want to see. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's like, I don't know what the right answer is.
Well, that's
really fascinating.
That's probably actually the biggest problem is that we want our news to be curated, and that in itself is not good.
Is exactly closing your perspective.
You're already saying, I want to see X, X, and X, but that means you're always being fed that same type of content, which doesn't transform you as a human, and it doesn't transform you in your thoughts or what you're putting out into the world. And I think that's the main issue with it. And I think that's where things like, you know, university, education, like things that are flipping your perspectives and challenging you to like see outside of, like I think a lot of my time in university, I was like, oh, that's not how I would have thought of it. But then, okay, great. I'm glad I was like exposed to that type of thinking or like critical thinking. Like, I think that's where we need to go back to. I think so many people are just stuck in their little like tunnel vision, and they're like, if it's not my way, it's the highway.
I think that's people ultimately throughout time though, don't you agree?
Yeah.
I don't think...
I guess. I think it's gotten worse with social media because we're so about curation. We're so about like...
I totally disagree though. Don't you think social media allows you to have so much more perspective? That's what it has for me. I agree in the sense that
but you curate it. You're saying like, here's the 500 people I follow. All of those 500 people are giving you the content you want to see. Like, so for example, if I were to go on, let's say my boyfriend's Instagram feed.
Sure.
And I scroll, and he were to go on my feed and scroll. Those first 10 things that my brain is capturing from my feed and what his brain is capturing from his feed are completely different. Whether that's like more, you know, fashion content that I'm seeing, or he's more seeing news and film, and I'm seeing, like, my point is, yes, of course, you're being exposed to other people's like perspectives, but you're still curating those perspectives.
You're curating what you want to see, but I'm saying that's not necessarily going to be someone's news source. So say, for example...
I think a lot of millennials, it is.
But wait, let me hear me out. So that's like saying, okay, I'm going to go to a bookstore and I'm going to pick the 5 books that I want to read because I'm interested in them based off the cover of the whatever. So that's your news feed, the books that you want to read for entertainment, for leisure, when you want to go on social media. But where I'm saying the beauty of social media is, and sure, that's the same with my like Twitter moments feeds. Like that's going to be something that it knows I'll probably like already and be interested in to keep me like updated on the daily, whatever. But when there's bigger things or other topics that I'm curious about, I can click on a tweet that, whether it's retweeted on my timeline or I've actively searched out for it, I can click on that tweet. And my favorite thing, I love reading replies. I think that's so interesting. Or like threads, like I love Reddit threads and all that stuff. And then reading the comments of these people aren't people that I'm following. It's not curated. There's no algorithm based on what I'm seeing. It literally is just a reply of threads from literally anyone.
Yeah.
So from that perspective, I can see, and people love to fight on Twitter or have a good debate, but I love reading it because then again, it makes me kind of become more of a critical thinker. And if someone's saying, oh, this is how I feel about this sucks, blah, 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 then someone will reply and say, actually, no, that's actually a really innovative way to do this, and then there'll be an argument. So in that sense, I'm exposed to different perspectives, which I think is actually super healthy. Yeah. And if there was no internet, none of that, then again, your only perspective is, again, curated by just your friends that you're around in real life. So whether it's online or not, I think if anything, you have more access to that.
100%. No, you're getting more access, and of course, the rhetoric is going to be different depending on someone's opinion, and they're going to comment back and debate, and that's really great. I think in the millennial spirit, it's very common to, you don't want to see what's beyond your favorites, if that makes sense. And I'm the same. It's like I don't want to follow someone that's like constantly pushing out things about something that I don't want to learn about or that I don't care about. And I think that's more the problem. It's like if someone makes me uncomfortable, like if I'm reading their post and I'm like, oh, I'm not moved by this makes me uncomfortable, it's like a quick unfollow. And that's up to me, of course, to curate what I want to consume. But maybe that's also a part of the problem. It's like we don't like change, we want all of the same, I
definitely agree that there is a weird level of, I don't want to say immediate aggression, and I don't know, and not that I want this to get super political or whatever, but whether it's because of the recent election, how social media has transformed around that, when you see arguments from extreme left to extreme right, and immediately people will just butt heads knowing what political side they lay on without even hearing anyone out or having a conversation. I think that is so hurtful, and it is that mindset when it's you versus them that I agree. People will just be like, fuck you, I don't care, blah, blah, blah. And
because it gets too emotional.
Exactly, because there's so much built up. Because it's well, if you're on the right, then that automatically means that you disagree with this, and this, and that's a fundamental right. And then on the reverse, you have the same thing going on. So it's it feels, people can take it as a personal attack. And I get it. Of course, there are many of things that I strongly disagree with, and I will happily go head to head with someone on. But I think from a conversational perspective, or just being able to have a healthy conversation, I do agree that whether it's because of social media, people are much quicker to hop on someone's throat without talking first, which that is
goes back
hurtful.
to
that hurts the cause.
We have also talked about is going back to that cancel culture. If someone just happens to have that comment that maybe gets recognized poorly or isn't read, and maybe they didn't even mean it as harshly as it was said or as it was received. But I think it all goes together, this crazy curation along with the cancel culture, along with we want all the same. If someone disagrees with us, then they're out. It's just really interesting.
It's much easier to just agree with someone and hop on the bandwagon and just throw a like to that tweet or retweet someone's sassy response. People just want to feel a part of something, and I would say probably majority of people don't actually form their own opinions. It's just regurgitating things that they've heard before.
It's really hard, I think, for people to be confident enough to speak up. And
totally. It's much easier to be oh, well, that was a well-presented thought, or that person sounds intelligent, I'm going to agree with it, without truly understanding.
Totally.
And I think that's what hurts. But that's ultimately, you got the followers, you got the leaders. That's kind of the dynamic of how the world works. So
of course. And I think that
kind of how do you fix? I don't know. Do you want to fix it?
I don't know.
I don't
Maybe
know.
you don't need to fix it. I think I don't know. But I do think it's you have to decide. We all do have to decide what type of people we want to be.
Exactly.
I know that I will be the leader. I will be the one in every situation to stand up for the underdog or say the loud thing that no one wants to say, and that's a personal opinion. That's a personal choice. People don't have to be as aggressive or as loud or stand up for humans if they don't feel necessary. But deep in my soul, I'm I can never be the person that can sit there and say nothing. I just can't. Whatever. But that's again personal. Some people will never share an opinion, and that's fine too, I guess.
Totally.
The world needs all kinds.
Toss a retweet, toss a like, and you're good to go. Social media, baby. Oh, we went off on a tangent from Lake Louise to mild political Twitter, the shocking world of it all. Yeah. What else has gone on in our life since we last sat down to film?
I started washing my face with just water, which has been a really interesting.
Wait, we've not talked about your skincare routine yet.
Yeah.
Explain what happened, because this happened actually
in LA.
Yeah, half a month ago.
Basically, I somehow forgot my face wash. Well, I know how. I was leaving for LA and I had a shower in the morning and I took my face wash into the shower with me. But then when I exited, I never removed the face wash. So when I left for the airport, it didn't make it into my bag. It's the worst. But this time around, unlike a regular, like, quick 2 or 3 day trip jaunt, I was gone for, like, almost 2 weeks. And I had no face wash. And I have spent enough money and have enough face washes at home that the last thing I wanted to do was head to Sephora to pick up another face wash, because that just seems wasteful and unnecessary. So as opposed to getting a new face wash, I just opted for good old H2O.
I opted for none.
I opted for no face wash. So I was literally just like removing my makeup and then using like a hot cloth from like the towels from the hotel.
For context, we were also on a makeup campaign shoot at the beginning of this. We were washing our faces / putting on so much crap on our face.
Yeah.
So like out of all of the trips, this was probably the worst type of trip to not have any face cleanser.
Yeah, so I'm just basically using like the washcloths with hot water for then 2 weeks, like as I go through LA with these like hotel rooms, and stunning results. It could not have been better. I was like, I had no breakouts, and it basically what it taught me was marketing works, and
I am a consumer,
and sometimes simplicity is bliss. That's what it taught me.
I would definitely agree. I mean, I'm not necessarily just on that H2O life. I love a cleanser, a moisturizer, and a sunscreen. But anything more than that, I'm like, sometimes I think it does more damage to my skin.
Yeah.
/ can cause things to break out, get irritated. Like, there's creams for everything, especially for female marketing. Elbow cream, neck cream, under eye contour. It's like, and then you see men marketing, and it's like, oh, here's a 5-in-1 body wash, toothpaste, and you're like, what?
Like, we know it's possible, yeah.
Yeah.
And I agree, like, I'm not one to, like as soon as I got home, I obviously still grabbed my face wash.
I love the indulgence of doing it, don't get me wrong.
And I like the routine, and I love and I still used moisturizer, even though I was just using water, so it's not like I was, like, cutting out my full makeup or my full skincare routine, but it was just like an interesting little trial that I didn't mean to do, but was like a happy accident.
And had amazing results.
Yeah, and like again, I don't know that it's great for everyone. I wouldn't recommend if you're
like,
working on.
I tried just washing my face with water.
Well, if you have more prone to breakout skin or anything that needs a little bit more help,
I preface, you've got great skin to start.
I feel like I
skin.
don't have very problematic skin. It's quite sensitive even, so I feel like using water was probably fine because it was like, oh, we're just removing the impurities like makeup, and then other than that, just putting moisturizer on.
Totally.
To protect. So, but just hilarious.
Yeah, the H2O skincare, that got me. Oh, actually, you know what that reminds me? I just saw this thing. I was reading this one article. This one, I forget the actual YouTuber's name. I'm so bad. Sorry if this is you. I'll try to link it down below if I can remember. Her channel, basically, she coined this whole 60-second face wash or whatever. Basically just saying, just wash your skin for at least 60 seconds and it will change your life. And everyone's like what? Like, how is this a life-changing tip? Like, wash your face, whatever. But she made a point to kind of say but if you consciously are standing there, most people only wash their face for 10 seconds. You go boom, 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 done. So she was literally made the video. She's like, this is what it should look like, 60 seconds, whatever. And had crazy, amazing reviews. People were freaking out. They're like, dude, this cleared up my acne, blah, blah, blah. So I was like, oh, that's too funny. So even this morning when I was washing my face, I was extra conscious to make sure I did the full 60 seconds.
Yeah.
Because just the whole idea of by the time you put it on, slap it on, and in 15 seconds, rinse it off.
Yeah.
It has no time to even do anything. So
of
at
course.
first, you've got the time melted in. It makes sense, right? Obviously.
It's reasonable, yeah.
So she made kind of another follow-up video, or there's a tweet or something that I saw that she's like, hey, now I'm going to change your life again. Do a 15-minute cleansing oil, and it will pull out everything in your skin. And I'm like, what does that mean? So then she tweets it out. She swears by it. So then a couple of her followers start doing it, and they tweet back a photo of all of the sebaceous glands. Is that what it's called? All of the pores and basically all the oil, the blackheads, all of that stuff. All of those, we're calling them plugs that would come out onto their skin. So you literally are massaging a cleansing oil in it for 15 minutes, and then apparently, especially around my nose, I get a lot. Apparently,
for 15 minutes?
15 minutes, cleansing oil, because the concept being oil attracts oil, and that's why I love using it to take off my makeup.
Yeah.
So you're rubbing the cleansing oil onto your skin, 15 minutes, and eventually it will lift all of the oil glands and the sebaceous filling things or whatever, and literally to the point that you will see almost a little blackhead on your hands.
Wow.
So this thread was so inspiring to me. I saw it and I was like, I need to try this. So tonight that's what I'm gonna do. 15 minutes.
Interesting. What cleansing oil?
I'm gonna do a Dermalogica pre-cleanse because that's just my favorite, and I think she mentioned that in her video. But I saw a bunch of other comments and people saying like, oh, you could use like an almond oil or whatever type of oil, as long as it's an oil product.
Oh, just any oil.
Well, I mean, I think there's probably ones that are more better suited for the skin than just like any good old oil. But yeah, definitely worth doing a bit of research in Google if you end up trying it out. But I'm so fascinated. I need to try it tonight, and I'm so excited by it.
Let's do it. 15 minutes and get all those blackheads.
Can you imagine the massaging? Everyone was saying like, oh, it's a workout, but you can feel it. Like once you feel the little like plugs come out, you like, I don't know. It sounds like something exactly what I want to try.
Yeah, I would enjoy that. But also, don't you think that's so strange though? Because when you get facials, like, why wouldn't then they do that?
But they do.
But
not maybe 15 minutes
15
of that.
minutes.
I don't know. Like
you're not hitting the time.
It reminds me of the concept of like, you remember those Biore nose pore strips?
Those were so bad for you.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, I love doing those.
Really?
Yeah, I love them. I still have them. I still do them.
Interesting. See, to me, it always felt like they were like not meant to pull out that much.
Oh, see, I would love it. And then you get like the thing after and you see all the gross. Oh, I would love it.
I like the idea that it's taking it out, but then I'm like, that can't be healthy.
But it is. It's just like on a grand scale, right? Like, it's like, I don't know.
Guess.
I mean, I see your hesitation. I love it. I still mess with it.
It kind of feels like peeling off nail polish.
Which I love.
Yeah, and I hate that. So that's in the same family to me.
But again, I feel like it's a very similar concept to that. Like that just kind of melts down, sticks onto those things, and then you pull them out. This seems like a lot gentler of a way to kind of slide out the little oil.
Seems
like
a little more natural.
So we'll see. I'll keep you guys updated. Next week, I might have the best skin of my life.
Interesting.
Or maybe it'll be horrific and cause me to break out and my skin will freak out.
Who knows?
Who really knows?
Okay.
Could be a thorn. But speaking of roses and thorns, I think we should hop in. Are we ready for today's roses and thorns?
Yeah.
Stunning, stunning. Okay, I'm gonna start off because I'm feeling good today.
There you go.
A thorn of the day is, we got back from like the airport last night really late, and I just kind of got home and like threw my stuff everywhere. I had a shoot earlier this morning, and they were coming to my house. And I did have lots of like piles of clothes everywhere. The house was like fairly clean, but just like I still felt like I was a little overflowing, so that would be my thorn.
Overflowing.
Yeah, I'm not like settled yet. Yeah, exploding. Remember when we were describing the fit person as they were the most fit person I've ever seen. They were exploding with fitness.
How do you explode with fitness?
They were exploding with fitness. They were so fit. A rose is, okay, so the other video, which is why Max was in our shot earlier, we're doing a bit of like a food tour of Toronto, all these vegan restaurants. I'm like eating my way through the city.
There you go.
Which the way to my heart is always through my stomach, so I'm really in a great place.
So where have you been so far? So we did
Comfort and Kim and Fresh, and then we also like filmed a kickboxing scene. And
what do you get at Comfort and Kim?
I just did a smoothie. But they have like little bowls, grab and go. Like it depends what you're in the mood for. But just did a smoothie today.
No, I know. I lived beside it.
I know. You used to go to there. Did you go there often?
No,
or?
I don't like it at all.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Why? You don't like a smoothie moment?
Oh, they don't do it for me. It's not. I think Fresh is amazing. Like, I think Fresh is so good, and like I can get on board for like good vegan food for sure.
Well, Comfort is more like fat, not like fast food.
Is it vegan? It's all
Comfort
vegan.
Is all, yeah. That one is more like grab and go, and the other one's more restaurant-y, so it's kind of hard to compare. But
maybe as a non-vegan, it would be harder for me to choose that as my location. Whereas I think Fresh is an easy choice for me, even though I'm not vegan.
I agree. I think Fresh is more approachable. Anyways, so yeah, went there. We've got Rosalinda on the menu tonight.
Nice.
My dad's going to actually come, which would be cute. He's never been. And there's actually a new one. Have you ever been to the Grow Up?
I've heard of, isn't it the Grow Up?
Oh.
Or Up. Or there's a Grow Up in the US, but is this OP like OPP?
I thought like Operation.
The Grow Up.
Not OPP, like the police. Like
it is up. Yeah, the Grow Up.
It is up?
Yeah, I'm like, dude, what are you talking about?
Oh, that makes me more sense.
I'm pretty sure it's the Grow Up.
No, I have it on my phone. No. I think it's the Grow Up.
There might be two. Then.
I was sent Grow Up.
Grow Up.
The Grow Up.
Okay, where is it?
I don't know. I think it's by like Trinity Bellwoods area. We're going to go check it out. I've never been before.
For like snacks?
I think like a more of a snack grab and go we're going to do. I'm excited to check it out though. So yeah, good place. Good place. Another rose is...
how many meals does one eat in the day? It seems like you're going to like 5
I know.
restaurants.
And the thing is we were like working out too, so I was like, I can't eat too much right before we work out. But we're doing four places. 2 snackies and then
That's a
2
lot.
meals. I know, but we wanted to showcase a lot. And I think this is more of like a what a Max and Jaclyn eat in a day. We cheated a couple. If anyone's watching the video,
they're like, now we need a donut. Let's go in here to find a vegan donut.
No, not that we were like ordering different things, but like I would eat half of the meal. And the thing is, we were kind of shooting like back to back, so I'm like, Max, take a bite. Like, I can't eat it all. So in that way, I mean, like, not that we were cheating it, but
you just weren't eating every calorie.
not the entire plates.
Got it.
Because we were shooting really close.
Got it.
But normally I would, though, if it was like spread out in normal hours. Like, I would eat a breakfast, a lunch, and then either 2 small snacks or 1 dinner.
Right.
Like, I try to eat 3 meals a day.
Right.
Anyways, that's too much. Too much. No, you need to know. And I'm looking forward to, I have a friend from out of town coming up tomorrow night, which will be fun. We're going to do a little.
That's hilarious.
What?
I'm just laughing at that.
And yeah, we're going to do a little, it's like a Bud Light Charlie XCX Valentine's Day house party.
Yeah.
Which will be fun. We're going, my friend from out of town. It's going to be a great time. So that's what I'm looking forward to.
Nice.
What about you, Tortor?
Ooh, thorn of the day. Oh, I know what my thorn is. So,
What?
So my boyfriend slept over last night, and he does this thing, God bless his soul, but like I have a king size bed, and so like let's say like I'm laying here and like you're on the other side of the bed. He every time like somehow diagonally like shares his pillow, my pillow with me, but then his legs spread out the whole other span of the bed. So like I'm literally falling off the bed. Like I'm like here, and then I look up and I wake up and his head is right beside me, and I look over, there's like the whole this side of the couch, like the size of the king bed, empty. And I'm like, really? Like I'm gonna fall off the bed.
Really?
So then this morning I like mentioned it to him, because I never want to wake him in that moment to be like, dude, like roll over, like I'm off the bed.
Yeah.
So I just try to nuzzle up and like
Just try to like get cozy on the corner.
somehow on the corner, get comfortable and go back to sleep.
Yeah.
But I was like, Adam, like you really just like stay on your side. So I'm gonna start to create pillow barriers. This is my plan, so that I can
a pillow wall.
just so that I can like create my own like space on the bed, because like neither of us take up that much room, so I
Right.
don't know how I'm possibly falling out of a king size.
Yeah, that makes the king size to you is also like an extra large king size.
Makes no sense. So that's the thorn, because it kept waking me
Oh,
up
that's
last
so
night, and I was
annoying.
like, can you like really just roll over? So that's that. And then rose, I'm going to see my trainer after this, so that'll be great. And then another rose, it's our friend Megan's birthday tonight. Excited for a little
Silly.
Asian fusion dinner. And we're doing karaoke, so that'll be fun. And then Rosebud, probably Punta Cana on Sunday. It's time to go.
Punta, baby.
It's time to roll
I'm
out.
so excited. I just got a notification that some of my deliveries arrived. Like I
Nice.
got some more summery beach wear.
It's time to roll.
I'm so excited. Okay, well, guys, this was a super fun episode. Thanks so much for tuning in. Let us know if you guys have anything that you want us to discuss. I feel like I'm talking weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, let us know. We would love to hear some topic suggestions. We also have a bunch of guests coming up, so if you guys are fans of when we have guests on, stay tuned, basically. That's the news.
That was such a weird rollout.
I know. Now I feel like I'm getting a little like the heat stroke, these thick sweaters.
Comment below. Let us know. Thanks for tuning in.
Thanks,
See you
guys.
next
We'll see you
time.
soon. Bye.